Welcome to this podcast. My name is Paul. I am a recovered addict. I live in Scotland, and I'm really pleased to be joined today by Aled.
Yeah, my name's Aled. I'm an addict, and I'm from Wales.
We're here today to talk about the solution we found in sobriety and our journey in recovery. On the screen is going to be various readings. There'll be information about meetings where you can get yourself to face-to-face meetings and online meetings. So bear in mind you can pause and rewind or listen to this podcast again if you so choose. You can also share it by copying the link. Wherever you see this posted on WhatsApp or YouTube or in the rooms or Skype, if you want to get involved, just put a comment beneath where it's posted and reach out to us and we'll reach out to you. It's a common solution for a common problem of addiction, and we're really pleased to be here. So there'll be different things on the screen, and I'll also be putting up bits from our basic text, Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book as well. So without further ado, I'm really pleased that Al has taken time out of his schedule to come and share his journey with us on the channel. So without further ado, it's over to you.
Thank you, Paul. And I'll say again, my name's Aled. I'm an addict, and I always get really nervous before sharing, my sponsor says to me it's because I care. It's because I'm bothered about what I'm going to talk about, and I'm not going to get it wrong because it's my journey. So it's not, it is what happened, isn't it? So I'll start from the beginning. So what makes me an addict is not what I thought it was when I first came into recovery. I thought it was because I enjoyed drugs and alcohol, but it wasn't. It was because I couldn't live life on life's terms, and I didn't know how to articulate my feelings, my emotions. But we'll go into that anyway. So from a young age, I never felt right. I never felt like I fitted in. I always felt like the odd one out. Even in a crowded room, I would feel alone. And it began at a young age, really. I'd get angry and lash out at people. So that's because I couldn't. I don't know. I found out now it's because I was full of fear, and that was my way of reacting, innit? But I used to be just angry when I was younger. Anything happens, I was angry at the world, angry at God, angry at everything. And then I was just scared. That's all it was, a scared little boy. And then at the age of 12, I discovered alcohol. I had my first drink at the age of 12, and I loved it because I was quite a shy and nervous person. Nervous little boy, and alcohol gave me that confidence to talk to people. It gave me that confidence to chat women up and stuff like that, which I could never do. And from the age of 14, that's when it really took off, and I'm drinking quite regularly, started smoking cannabis, the usual thing. Just it escalated, went there. I stayed along there, and there was a group of friends, so I don't know if it's quite, the group I was with is quite normal. It was quite normal to do these things, but I always looked for the groups that did it a bit more than everyone else. I always looked for the people that are a bit different to everyone else. I tried to conform for ages. I think running was my first addiction, and that's been an addiction in recovery as well, to be honest. But that was my first addiction because it made me feel good. And I was on my own. I liked being isolated, which is the worst thing I can do with this illness I've got. Anyway, I started dabbling in more substances. It got worse. I started dabbling in speed and stuff like that. I went to university. I managed to break through my exams. Went to university, and that's where I tried everything. I tried every drug going, really. And I failed my university because I just went there to get high. That's all I did. Didn't turn up to lectures, blamed everyone else, blamed everything else for the way, for me not going. It's their fault because I couldn't take responsibility for anything. It was always someone else's fault. And when I did take responsibility, I used a lot of manipulation and self-pity and tried to, make people feel sorry for me. If you had my life, you'd do the same, all that sort of nonsense I came up with. And then there started becoming consequences then. I think the first time I was arrested was 21. They smashed cars up when I was drunk. And yeah, I just kept getting, and there was other consequences before that, like falling on my 18th birthday, actually. I've got that smashed drunk that I was found outside an old people's home, and they got taken to the cells one night and woke up in the morning, had no idea, like, because once I pick up a substance, I cannot stop, like, and I don't know when I'm going to stop. It could be tomorrow, it could be next week, it could be a few years down the line. And that's what makes me different, like, once I put anything in my system, all bets are off, like, it's like Russian roulette I'm playing. So, yeah, all these things kept happening. And then I came back home, because I went away for university. I come back to Aberystwyth, and it was like, yeah, it was, I got a decent job, and I was just drinking. I wasn't doing that many drugs then. I was just drinking or taking speed to drink more. And then I discovered heroin, and that was it for me, to be honest. That was my drug of choice, and I loved it because I still felt in control. Because with alcohol, I was never in control. And the reality is, I'm a control freak. I want everything to work out exactly how I want it to work out. And if it doesn't work out like that, this is what I was like, I should say. If it doesn't work out exactly how I want it to work out, I'll blame other people and I'll go, oh, fuck it, I may as well get high. And that was my answer to it. I blame everyone else. But that heroin that gave me that warm feeling. It turned off, though, because I'm a really sensitive person, it turned off all this head that keeps on, I call it washing machine head. It just keeps on going over things over and over again. And that turned it off, like, that gave me that ease and comfort it talks about in the big book. Like, it just, yeah, I found what I was looking for. So I thought, and I got loads of warnings what was going to happen, but I thought, no, it's not going to happen to me. I'm better than you lot. That's because I was quite arrogant as well. So I thought it wasn't going to happen to me, but I ended up getting drug habit, losing my job as a counsel, stealing, went to prison the first time for a few weeks, kept getting caught. And then, yeah, I just I wasn't working, I was just living a really bad life. I was just sofa surfing, yeah, hanging around with people exactly like me. My family, I was hurting my family. I put my family through a lot. And I've got a decent family. I had a decent upbringing. My parents divorced, but then they had a stepdad. But and my brother, he's had the exact same upbringing as me, but he didn't use and drink and use like me, and he can take it or leave it. It's just I'm different to him, innit? And yeah, so yeah, I didn't work. I didn't do anything. And after that time I went to prison, the first time, I blamed the heroin. I didn't know it was a problem with myself. I blamed that. That's it. I won't take that anymore. So I took everything else. I took every other drug except for heroin for about, I don't know, a year. But then I went back to it, and my drug use was off the chart with everything else, and I was messing up lives. I haven't had meaningful relationships, and I just kept hurting my family all the time. And then, yeah, like I said, the inevitable day came, but I worked then because of what I did before I went to prison. I was followed around shops. I was really bad thief, and yeah, I was dealing, stuff like that. And I didn't want ever to go back to that. So I was picking up jobs, cash in hand, and then I got a job with this company, and I don't know how I kept that job for 13 years, and I was still doing all the stuff I was. I got loads of people were covering for me. Oh, it was horrendous, to be honest. I don't know how. I don't know how. And it's only, yeah. I'll say I don't know how I'm still here, but I'll come in. I do. I've got that belief is because by the grace of God that I am here. Like, there's no other thing, because I should be dead with all the things I've done in my life. But anyway, I kept getting constantly getting in trouble. And then, yeah, finally, and I think it was in 20. So this had been going on. My using, say, started when I was about 14 to 92, and it went on to 2014. And 2013, actually, I was arrested, and I was brought in on a conspiracy charge, and that was it. I was on remand for 10 months in prison, and I did not like that one bit. This is I hated every minute of it. Like, I had no friends. My family didn't want to know me. My mum had to disown me because she was told by one of my probation officers, because she used to pick up the pieces all the time because I'd manipulate and control her to do what I wanted her to do. And I'd use I'd make her feel sorry for me, stuff like that. It was quite the stuff that I don't do today, innit? But yeah, she was told by a probation officer to leave me get on with it, which she did. But still, when in 2013, when I was arrested on conspiracy charge, she was in bits, like, and my whole family were in bits. And I was quite fortunate that they all came to visit me in prison, and they had somewhere to go after it. And that was it. I was in there, and I thought, right, I was doing good things, and I was getting qualifications, I was helping others, I was going reading, teaching people to read and stuff like that. Because I'm quite intelligent, but that doesn't being intelligent will not stop me from picking up. Because I'll try and work everything out, which is not a good thing. That is what I used to be like, try and work out how everything works, but I don't need to with this. So yeah, so I came out of prison that time. I was in 10 months, like I said, and drugs were the problem. Heroin was the problem. As long as I didn't use that, I'd be fine. I started drinking. I still carried on drinking, and it didn't get bad at first, but it kept increasing. Over that year, my mood changed. I was nasty to be around when I didn't have a drink. I'd have the mood swings, and then during that year as well, like, my brother had a stillborn. When the drinking hadn't got bad by then, he had a stillborn, him and his wife, and I helped him through that. So fast forward about eight months, I built up all these relationships, but I still thought I could drink. And they kept increasing. I kept sneaking around, being sly, and going for a drink on the sly, and all that. That comes with addiction with me. You can't be honest, like, I'm dishonest and selfish when it comes to drink and drugs. And the inevitable happened. I was out one night, And it was just after I did a running race and I did really well in it. And I was with my brother in Manchester. And they go like, do you want to drink? Drink. And I didn't want to drink. And then someone bought me one and they had it. Next thing, that's it, the thirst come on. And because that thirst was there, I went to bed that night and I wasn't satisfied. The next morning, I had to go out, start drinking, ended up taking Valium, taking heroin again, going missing for a few days, causing family. I was meant to move to Manchester with my family, causing them a lot of distress. And that was it. That was my, like, I don't know. I don't think it hit me at first until they all came. My brother came and his wife, and they all sort of told me exactly how I made them feel, which I didn't like. So my reaction was, oh, how fucking dare she say that to me? Like that's what my first reaction was. Because because I was just an ill man, like. But I felt this pain inside. At that time, I felt this emptiness, this loneliness, and I couldn't live anymore like I was. I couldn't live because that alcohol, drugs had stopped working a long time before I stopped using them. And I didn't know of any solution. So I just carried on because I thought I was going to die an addict. Like I thought I was going to die because of this illness. I didn't know about a solution. And I was just in my bedroom in all this pain, and I got down on my knees like and said, God, please help me because I cannot go on like this anymore. I cannot feel like this anymore. And I was with the family a couple of days later, and we were talking in the car, and I don't know what was said, and it just blurted out like, I'll go to an AA meeting. And I never forget, like, I didn't know where it came from. I do now, obviously, from God, but I didn't know at the time where it came from. And I ended up going to my first meeting because of that. I had to look online and I had to look where the meetings were. And I think they're all a bit skeptical, except my one brother. He said, yeah, I know you're going to go and I know you're going to do it. And that meant a lot. That meant a lot to me, like. And I'll never forget that because he was the one him and my mum stood up for me, and I'll never forget that. And again, I'm emotional now thinking about it, to be honest. But yeah, it was. So I ended up going to my first meeting, and I don't know what happened in that meeting. I didn't have a clue what was going on, but I listened to some of the stories, listened to the shares, and they were talking about the same feelings I had, same emotions, and they used like me, and they did some of the mad shit that I did. Like they did some of the mad stuff I did, and yeah, I thought, whoa, I didn't feel alone anymore. I didn't think, oh, what, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm not the only one that uses substances and does things that I wouldn't normally do for it. And and everyone was friendly. But I did think I was a bit skeptical. I thought everyone's friendly. What do they want off me? Because I was so into myself because that's the world I was living in. Everyone out for themselves, isn't it? But it wasn't like, and people smiling, laughing. I thought they were laughing at me as well at times because I'm so self-obsessed, in it. I was so worried about how I was perceived and what people thought of me, that I thought it was all about me. So anyway, I was told at the meeting to listen to the similarities, not the differences, and to keep going to meetings, and then to get a sponsor. and go through the steps. And first of all, I didn't have a clue. Get a sponsor, go through the steps. What are you on about? Steps are on the wall, don't have a clue what they're on about. God, there's a big, even though I'd done that, help me please God, there was still a barrier there because of what happened with my brother. I still blame God for that. And someone said to me, well, someone said to me, if you had no belief in God, why are you blaming him? Which is quite true. Like, why are you blaming God if you've got no belief? But anyway, I was that desperate. I was that unhappy. I just did what people suggested. So they're called suggestions. Nobody tells you what to do, because I think if anyone told me what to do when I was early in, if they said, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, I probably wouldn't have listened, because I'm quite defiant. I don't like to be told. But they put it as suggestions, which is quite clever. And they said, I suggest you get a sponsor, I suggest you go through steps, and the sponsor is just so person who's been through the steps, who will take you through them how he was. Because it says men stick with men and women stick with women, especially the early days. And so I did that. I followed the suggestions, stuff I didn't necessarily want to do it in the beginning. I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't want to do an inventory and look at my heart and stuff. I didn't want to do that at first. I didn't want to look at some of the things that have happened in my life, my resentments, my fears, all that sort of thing. I didn't want to do all that. But it says in the book, I had that gift of desperation where I had no choice. Like, it was either carry on as I was or try this. Because I've tried psychologists, I tried drug and alcohol agencies, I tried doing it on my own, tried moderating, tried everything else, but none of it worked. So I don't think I had the capacity to be honest with people. But with the people in recovery, they know if I'm lying. People can tell, and I can tell with them, and I don't need to, because I'm not getting judged. That's how I felt. I don't get judged by anyone because people have been through similar things. And I just got on with the steps, went through it up to step. I went up to step, what is it? The first time I went up to step 7 because did my step 4, did my step 5, shared it with someone, beautiful experience. My obsession to drink and use left me. So I thought I didn't need the program anymore. I thought, that's it now, I'm cured. This is what I thought when I'd done that. I followed the suggestion, I've done this, I know enough now about myself and about recovery that I can do this on my own. So I started getting resentments in the room because people were telling me you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Well, I now realize not everyone, I shouldn't say this, but not everyone in meetings are doing a program and are not well themselves, and it's me taking things personally. That's what it's from. It's nothing to do with them. It's me taking things personally instead of listening and accepting that everyone else has got opinions. Got me back out there again. I drank for a month. I drank for a month because I couldn't be honest as well. I was doing running club and I couldn't be honest with people why I wasn't drinking. And I was always driving, stuff like that. So I ended up, drinking for a month and then stopping again. And because of my pride, I wouldn't go back to meetings for 16 months. And all I did was run. So I changed my addiction to running. Because it says it in the book as well, taking more physical activity and stuff like that. And so I did that. And I tell you what, I did really well in the running. I did amazingly well. I won all these events, represented country, all that sort of stuff, and none of it meant anything because I was so broken inside. I wasn't happy because I didn't have a solution. I was using that, and then I got injured in running, so I was mad as a box of frogs, to be honest. I was very angry again. All the defects of character which they talk about, selfish, dishonest, inconsiderate, everything came out. And because I got injured, I had no release. And I tried other means of recovery. I tried smart recovery. I tried stuff like that because I didn't want to come back. I talked about coming back to meetings for about 6 months before or even a year before I came back. But I didn't want to. I thought, no, I don't need to. Because I looked at other people, I was comparing myself. I know someone who didn't need to do the meetings and he drunk a lot. And I thought, why can't I do that? But eventually I swallowed my pride and went back into meetings, and it was the best thing I did. I was really scared. It was like it was worse than going to my first one because alcohol and drugs were my solution to living life on life's terms, innit? Because I cannot live life on life's terms. Without that solution and without working a program, I'm worse than if I'm drinking and using. I was really, I was terrified, like going to that meeting. I was terrified. My head was just 2,000 miles an hour. I was just really not in a good place. Like, I was a nervous wreck. I felt really alone, isolated, and yeah, I don't want to ever go back there again. And went to a meeting, found a sponsor, went through a bit of work with him, wasn't the right sponsor for me. I wanted desperately to get through the steps. So I found a sponsor, but some of the stuff, I wasn't happy doing it, and it wasn't right for me. But I kept on going because I didn't like to let people down. I like to say yes, yes, and I wanted to get through the steps. But in the end, I actually talked to other members and got another sponsor and went through the steps again. And then I went through all the steps and with my sponsor, with my current sponsor. And yeah, it's amazing, like, because what it says, what was it, step 12? Having had the spiritual awakening, and as a result of going through these steps, we try to carry this message to other addicts and practice these principles in all our affairs. That's what it says, step 12. And I didn't know what this spiritual awakening, because I had spiritual experiences, like stop the desire to drink and use. The spiritual awakening, my thinking changed completely. It's hard to describe. I could think of other people, not of myself. I could do things for others without even thinking about it. And yeah, life's unbelievable. Like, life is unbelievable because I don't know, I've got all my family back. I've got good friends. I've got decent relationships. I'm single, but I don't need a partner to feel complete because it's about how I feel inside, and it's all about how I feel inside and how I feel and what I'm doing in life as well for me. And I've got a job helping others, and I try and carry this message to others because I want to give away what has been given freely to me. I help others through the work now, which is what it says, and that's what I say. If I take someone else through the work, is what my sponsor said to me, willing to go to any lengths. And once you've gone through it, to take someone else through it. Because we can't keep what we've been given so freely. And I've got a God in my life. I pray, meditate, and talk to God throughout the day. Because this is what this book is a gateway to God. That's what it's all about. Like, and it's about connection to whatever. Some people don't like the word God. I use God. Some people like higher power. Whatever. It's up to you. But it's stuff I never thought I'd ever do. Pray, meditate. What are you on about? I don't want to do all that. I don't want to get on my knees. I don't want to do that. That's stupid. That's what I thought. But it's part of my routine. It's part of my life now. And when I'm struggling things, it says to pause when agitated and ask for the right answer. It'll come, and it does. It does when I'm in fit spiritual condition. It does come. And like I said, now I've got a decent job. I've got decent relationships, and I've got peace of mind, which is the biggest thing. My head doesn't go 200 miles an hour. And when it does, I can share that with somebody. I can take inventory. I can do stuff, what the program taught me. And it says in it, and you'll have a life beyond your wildest dreams, isn't it? And it is. And it's not what I thought it'd be. I thought it would be. I always thought, no, I want this. I want beautiful woman, loads of kids, and family, and I want nice car, nice house, all the material things. But the material things, they don't matter. Like, it's how I feel inside, peace of mind, and have my relationship with others and my relationship with God. Like, that's what it's given me. Like, so if you're struggling with drug or alcohol problem, just get to meet, try and get to meeting, listen to all the similarities, not the differences. It works. It really does work, and just follow the suggestions. Like, it's a beautiful program, and if I wasn't doing this, I'd either be in prison, in a mental institution, or dead. Like, those are my options. I can't see, or still drinking and using, just about hanging on, like, in desperate pain. So just give it a go. You never know. It might work for you like it has for me. And I think I'll leave it there. And thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Alan. I've been privileged to know you a few years now, and it's always a pleasure to hear you, my friend, and such a real and honest, powerful share. Thank you for taking time to come and share with us on the podcast. And just a quick shout out to folks. Things are on the screen. There was meet information posted earlier on the screen, but I'm going to put it back on the screen in just a minute or two, a couple of time. There are lots and lots of meetings. In meetings, you hear about problem, you learn about addiction, you learn about sobriety, and we grow in our understanding of the problem and the solution of recovery. So please check out the others on the channel. We've got one on the Spiritual Malady, ABCs of addiction, another one in Why Do I Keep Relapsing? Another one's called So I've Recovered What. There's about 7 personal stories like this one on the channel, as well as podcasts on each of the steps. So please like and subscribe, simply because it helps more folks see the podcast. And like I say, if you want to reach out for help, wherever you see these posted, just write underneath and we'll reach out to you. Ali, that was beautiful, and a lot of similarities. I think I was 12 when I first tasted alcohol, and it was horrendous. I was ill for 2 or 3 days, and all heroin, I got quite involved in that. Glad to say a long time ago now, but it was the case. A lot of similarities, really, and a great share. It was thoroughly understandable, relatable, and joined up. It was great, and always appreciate hearing you. And I liked what you had to say about inner contentment and being at peace in your own skin, so to speak. And that's where it's at. Addiction's a thinking and a feeling problem. My body liked the drugs, and my thinking thought it'd be a good idea to carry on with that feeling. And today I like the effects produced by sobriety, rather than the effects produced by drugs. And certainly it's a miracle, an absolute miracle to hear a story like yours and mine, that we've got free and stayed free, for a considerable time, and the miracle has happened and continues to happen. We continue to stay free one day at a time as we practice these principles and stay in prayer. It's interesting as well that you mentioned about, I think you said you got up to step 5 and you felt because you'd shared the exact nature of your wrongs that you was cured and it was all right now. And you went back to, I think you said you went back to drinking for a month. But then I think you said it took you another 6 months or a year to come back to meetings. And ironically enough, a couple of pages back from where, and I've got on the screen here in case anyone's new, a portion from our basic text, Alcoholics Anonymous, the big book. This chapter's called There Is a Solution. And a couple of pages previous, you might be able to help me with this, Alan. Is it Jim in more about, but there's a man and I'll just quickly do it. It's here. Let me see.
Is it? Jim.
Right. Yeah. I'm just trying to see a certain American businessman. There it is. Look.
Yeah.
He believed he'd acquired such a profound knowledge of the inner workings of his mind and its hidden springs that relapse was unthinkable. Nevertheless, he was drunk in a short time. And he returned to the doctor, which is Silkworth, I think, and asked him why he couldn't recover.
Yeah.
And of course, accepted the program and got free and stayed free for addiction. And I also like what you had to say, that if someone had come to you and said you must do this, you must do that, you wouldn't have probably done it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the program. Our starting point is identification. We share what we were like. We share about the alcoholic or addictive problem, and we get a mutual understanding. We perhaps share our stories, and then we share how we got well, how we've recovered. And that's the essence of it, isn't it? We simply try and help folk get clean. But what would you say is the sort of pivotal thing for you that really you through the steps that sort of give you that lasting freedom?
I don't know. It's all of it, isn't it? To be honest.
Yeah.
It's letting go of everything in step 4, sharing it with someone and with God, isn't it? And then just continuing with the maintenance of it on a daily basis, keeping up with everything, not letting stuff go, not holding on to stuff, and getting things wrong and not beating myself up for it, because I will get things wrong, not trying to do everything perfectly, because my head wants to do things perfectly at times and it's not possible.
Yeah. I think consistency is key, isn't it? Which is what you're saying. A daily program of action. So, there are things that we do on a daily basis, whether we feel like it or not. There's prayers we pray, calls we make, meetings we attend, service we do. And a key thing as well is building on our own personal spiritual journey. you know, whatever that looks like for the individual. You mentioned meditation. Would you say that's been really pivotal for you?
Yeah, because I talk to God through praying, and He talks to me through meditation. And it happened to me this morning. Like, a name came to me. I'm a share finder for a meeting, and a name came to me in meditation this morning to ring someone.
Yeah.
It's happened quite a lot from share finding. Names have come to me, and the person I phoned today said, "Oh yeah, I was speaking to someone last night who'd like to share in the meeting before his clocks go back where he lives. He lives abroad,
Yeah.
and the clocks go back this weekend." So from that, that's a God moment for me. From
Yes,
this,
absolutely. Absolutely.
so just stuff like that just happens all the time. It's, meditation is quietens the mind so I can.
The breathing technique, I find, for anyone that's new to meditation, you know, to simply switch off all electronic devices and just breathe in for 4 or 5 seconds, hold it for 4 or 5 seconds, and breathe out for the same amount of time, then same amount of time, then breathe in for 4 or 5 seconds, hold it, and just get used to repeating that process. And it helps you be where your feet are, it helps you be in the present moment. And sort of the power of contemplation. You know, the idea that you should have an empty mind is a modern Eastern idea. The ancients would talk about meditating on truth, meditating prayerfully on God. You can prayerfully meditate, and you can meditate prayer. You know, I love what you said. You talk to God in prayer, and God talks to you in meditation. That's a prime thing to have faith. You know, everyone that approaches God must have faith that He is. You know, and it's a really precious thing to think of, just the stillness and the quietness. You know, and just to have peace. There's an ancient proverb. It says, "In returning and rest shall you be spared. In quietness and confidence will be your trust." You know, that's Isaiah 30:15.
Yeah.
You know, the peace and serenity that comes to us through all this process, you know. It's a lot to try and convey this message to a new person, would you say? And you say you now work with others. Talk about that for a minute. How important of a process would you say that is for a recovering addict?
It's one of the most important, because you said in it, says you can't keep what you can't keep what you don't give. Like, what is it? You can't keep what you don't give away. So
Something you can't keep what you have without giving it away.
that's the thing, and it's because somebody took their time to go through it with me. Somebody took their time to take me through the work and take me through the steps, and it's important I do the same, because I want people to have what I've got, what I've been given. To be honest, I want people to have the freedom that I've been given. I can go anywhere and do anything within reason, obviously. But I'm a free man now, and I was always chained to
That's right.
things.
It's such a beautiful thing, isn't it, to share? It's a lot to carry the message to new persons, you know, that are often bedeviled and deluded with lots of some consequences and depression, for example, to try and share with them just how powerful this process is. You know, it's a lot. It really is, but the reality, over 20 million folks through NA, CA, and AA have found lasting sobriety. And you've got the other 90 odd 12-step programs: Overeaters Anonymous, Sex Addicts Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Nicotine Anonymous. There's literally over 100 of them now. You know, and it's just a miracle of God's grace, isn't it, that persons can get free and stay free. You know, our message is hope. Our promise is freedom. An addict, any addict, can quit using, lose the desire to use, and find a brand new way to live. And that's what we found, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely. That's what it is, isn't it?
Well, I just want to say to our listeners, you know, please check out the other podcasts. Please do reach out for help. Have a look on the screen. You'll see there's lots of meetings on the screen. They're all on Zoom nowadays. And all those meetings on the screen are on every single day. And God's voice and the message of hope, faith and courage is in all these meetings. So please get involved. The UK Samaritan's numbers at the bottom right, as is the CA UK helpline. Top centre is cocaineanonymous.org.uk, where you can get information about up and coming UK CA events, in-person meetings in Britain, online meetings. You can read pamphlets and resources. And you can purchase literature on there as well. It really is a great website. Well, Ali, it's been an absolute pleasure listening to your message this evening. And, you know, on behalf of CA, I just want to thank you for taking the time to come and be with us this evening. And yeah, a lot of love for you, brother. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for asking me. It's been an honour, like, and a blessing. So thank you.
Okay, family. Until next time, stay strong. Thanks, Aled. Bye, everybody.